for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Easy Mutt. Use code VENM at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's up guys, Ben on Fire here, back from the video, and today I'm bringing you guys another coverage defense. This one's going to be another man-to-man coverage scheme. You guys seem to be liking those a lot, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and continue to bring you guys. Also, if you're new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It's free, and you can always unsubscribe at any time. About 75% of my viewers are not subscribed, and we're on the road to 20,000 subscribers, so go ahead and hit that sub button down below. But yeah, moving on, man coverage scheme. I like cover one a lot more than cover two these days. So we're going to be running a cover one hole here out of the big nickel over G. I kind of touched up on this in my 4-6 defensive ebook if you did watch that video. But we're going to be going over a lot more setups. I think I only really went over one or two in that video. But I'm going to be going over completely different ones as well. Overall, big nickel over G, very disrespected formation. Not a lot of people are running it these days, but it still can be very good. Now, one thing you kind of do want is you want some athletic players at these defensive lineman spots, because you're going to end up manning up or putting in coverage these defensive ends. So I'll just throw this guy. I think he's pretty athletic. And then we got Dante Hightower. Get your safeties at linebacker, and then you can get some DBs across the field, about 7 defensive backs. Then you can obviously put your linebackers at the end. Make sure that you are in this slot cornerback package so that you get the correct adjustments. And yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead, hop straight into it now. In the majority of my videos, I usually go against bunch or spread, or bunch or trips, excuse me, but I'm going to go with something different. Let's go with a little bit of a spread type offense here, just to mix things up, keep things a little bit fresh in the video. So we're going to go with like a flanker dig. I think that play really does kind of have it all. And yeah, we'll get into it. Now, as far as taking a look at the player, we want a couple of things in our play. Now, to start off, we're going to play it conservatively with our setup. We're actually going to leave one deep zone, because when you're running man coverage, it's very possible to get beat deep down the field, and we recognize that, we understand that. So for our first setup, we're actually going to leave this inside third zone on the field for a good reason. Now, as far as your other setup, your other adjustments, you have a couple of things, and one thing I did completely forget to mention is that you want to adjust your zone drops. Set your curl flats to 20 yards, not 25, but for this one, I like 20 yards. I feel like that's a perfect spot. So go ahead, set those curl flats to about that mark. Again, if you want to go 15, you can really set it to whatever, but we're only going to have curl flats. We're not going to have flats on our field at all. Anyways, our next adjustment that we're going to do is we're actually going to spread our defensive line. Now, the reason for that is we're just going to get our zones out further. We're going to get our man coverage out further. Really, it helps because we're going to end up manning up that running back with our defensive end on the right side. And if he's compressed, he doesn't really defend it. So I'll just kind of show it compressed. You see Todd Gurley's on the table route. Look at Dante Hightower. Look at how he's going to defend it. That's an easy throw. That's an easy snap throw, and you're picking up 10 yards. So there's a big problem with that. The way to take that away is what you saw me talk about, and you're going to end up manning B on RB once you spread your defensive line. This is going to hurt against the run a little bit, but overall against the pass, it's going to help you a lot. Taking a look, just look at the running back now that he's man up wide. Boom, he is completely clamped up. That's a pick 6. So big time difference there, and it's those kind of small things, small adjustments that really make a defense great from good. So key adjustment there. Again, you're just going to spread your defensive line. You're going to press your defensive backs, man up that B on RB, and then we want our 2 curl flats on the field. Now we're going to start out with a 2-man rush setup. So I'm going to throw X in a curl flat, and I'm also going to throw A in a curl flat. Now you see, I'm going to actually user this player on the left because I want the other linebacker on the curl flat. Obviously, when you man up one of your defensive ends, you need the other one to be on the curl flat, so that it just changes who you're using basically. If the play was flipped, I would end up using Kyle Duggar here, but here we're using Patrick Chung. So again, you're going to end up actually using the player that's manned up on the running back. Overall, we'll go ahead and snap the ball, and you'll see what happens with our coverage. One last thing you can kind of do is shade over the top if you really wanted to, but you see coverage pretty well. Calvin Ridley does get open. That's kind of a mismatch because he has abilities and JC Jackson doesn't, but look at how much ground that middle third kind of covers there. Really, overall, it's a great zone, and you see the coverage really well. So let's hop into those adjustments again here. Hopping into those adjustments again, really your biggest kind of issue, what was I even going to say? Hopping into those adjustments again, and really your biggest issue with man coverage is when you have 5 people manned up, you're going to have, you know, holes somewhere in your defense, whether it's your pass rush rushing 2 people or it's your back end. If you want to rush 3 people, you're going to have to take away either a deep zone or one of your curl flats, which we'll show next, the different ways to kind of mix it up. As far as that's concerned, you know, taking the information, if he's on the right hash, maybe he's more likely to have a crosser coming from the wide side to the short side, and just kind of those things that you can pretty easily pick up on. I'll go through that first setup again though. We'll press, we'll spread our defensive line, man up B on RB, put that XD lineman in a curl flat, and put A in a curl flat. Again, you can blitz your user. The reason I'm doing that, just to get that better pass rush type stuff. We'll go ahead, snap the ball here. You see A covered well, work over on B. Again, X is getting decent separation. That might be because I'm not shading over the top, which is certainly an option. You can go ahead, shade over the top if you wanted to, really. I'll show that setup one more time, and then we'll hop into some of the other stuff, because again, I have a couple of ideas, a lot of setups for this one play, and I really want to get through all of them in a short amount of time. But yeah, it's a pretty simple setup. You're realistically only making 3 adjustments, so it's not overly complicated. Again, the biggest problem is the pass rush. You've seen these guys aren't good. I think we have Dietrich Wise here. Yeah, we have Wise, and then we have Lawrence Guy. So we don't exactly have good pass rushers by any stretch of the imagination. But still, nonetheless, with good pass rushers, you'll get better timing. And you see 2-man rush against 5-man protection. We still get it before he could even throw that deep pass right to Calvin Ridley. So anyways, let's move on to the next setup, and it's going to be a 3-man setup. What you do in a 3-man setup is we kind of want to keep it looking the same. What I would basically do, I'm going to man up B on RB again, and so I'm going to spread my D-line. I'm just going to throw A in a curl flat, and then I'm going to throw L1 in a curl flat. Blitz your user just like this. So this is how you're going to do the 3-man rush. If you really wanted to, you could put Chung on the curl flat as well and actually user Devin McCourty here. I'm not personally the biggest fan of doing that. I like to just keep using the same player. Rather than having to move my best safety from linebacker back to safety if I want to user him the whole time. But overall, it's pretty good coverage. I'll blitz my user here. I don't know why it's not letting me. My controller's kind of frozen here. So we'll just kind of snap the ball, see if I can move. But yeah, normally you would put your user on a little blitz there. Obviously, it's cover 0, so you've got to watch the deep part of the field. But you're kind of banking on getting relatively quick pressure, so hopefully those routes aren't super developed, especially if they're going to send all 5 guys out on the field. I'll show that setup again here. We will just spread our D-line, man up B on RB, put A in a curl flat, and then we're going to press. Once you press, that free safety moves over, allowing you to make that adjustment, so we'll put L1 in a curl flat right there. Again, blitz your user, and then we'll snap the ball. You see coverage pretty well, but I have to go deep down the field because you see a guy like Calvin Ridley get separation. But overall, if you want, you can definitely get those one step ahead abilities, because those will help 100% in a man coverage scheme. I use those. I use acrobats. So it allows me to kind of get risky with my adjustments sometimes. But let's hop into some of those scenarios I was talking about where we want an extra guy. We put only maybe 1 curl flat on our field, what that would kind of look like. So when I'm going to put 1 curl flat on the field, I'm expecting them to be on a hash mark. Now, out of a formation like spread, more times than not, I'm going to expect a crosser coming from left to right. Now, in my audibles, I don't really have a crosser, which I probably should have set up, but it's fine. But again, you're expecting a crosser from maybe Y. If it's that circle play, you're expecting a crosser from X. I'm going to play my curl flat on that wide side of the field. Simple enough. Now they could even go ahead and flip their plays, which is usually what the case will be, because they want their running back on that wide side of the field. So you're going to kind of play it like this pretty much is what I would expect. If you want to go with a 2-man rush, this would be my favorite option. You're going to man up X on RB, and then you're just going to put the curl flat with that other defensive end. You're playing 1 curl flat, but instead, basically I have an extra 3-rec hook in the middle of the field, so I can actually end up using something deep if it were to appear on this side of the field. Pretty good option if you ask me. You'll see that the help in the middle of the field really will assist you in defending pretty much everything. You see coverage really well, even if maybe you have a step there. The inside third plays it really well, so you need gunslinger, really good throw power to make that pass happen. Again, this setup, you spread your D-line, press. Those are going to be the 2 constants in all our setups. Again, you would idealistically probably flip here. And then here's a look at what you would do. Again, I'm still using the same player in pretty much all of these setups, even if they do flip their running back, which is something that could help out. Obviously, if they're on the left hash, everything's kind of vice versa. But You see coverage still in a pretty good position right here. Again, I can shade over the top if I have to, but really, I don't see too many crossers from the short side to the wide side really ever. You're not really going to see that much at all. For anything, you're going to see a deep post from that side, maybe like a curl route, but it's very rare that anybody is going to run a crosser from right here just because of how far you have to run. You have to run so much farther. You're running from the numbers, whereas here, you're like 2-3 steps in, and it's just way more efficient. So that's the reason that I'm willing to kind of take a risk like that. If I wanted to go with a 3-man setup where I'm kind of going with the same thing, one flat zone, basically what I'm going to do is man up the running back still. We want our 3-man setup, and I'm just going to take away our help in the middle of the field. In doing that, we're just going to put that 3-rec hook in the curl flat instead. So that would be your alternate option. We'll go ahead and snap the ball again here, and boom, we lurk that. Didn't get an animation. Sorry, it's kind of tough using those two controllers, but that would be the way to flip it. So overall, that's going to do it for the video. If you guys enjoyed, please go ahead and hit that like button. Also, subscribe to the channel. As I mentioned, we're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. If you enjoyed, you made it to this point of the video, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. And yeah, that's going to do it for me. Follow me on Twitter. Link will be down below in the description. And peace. I'm out of here.